Tonight, as you prepare to lay your head upon your pillow, I invite you to consider that the quiet hours of sleep are not merely a time of rest, but a sacred moment in which your mind and body are nourished with energy, vitality, and divine abundance. Imagine for a moment that as you close your eyes, the universe itself conspires to fill you with the most radiant force imaginable. A force that restores, invigorates, and uplifts. For sleep is not an absence, but a presence, a divine opportunity to awaken richer in life, richer in clarity, and richer in the creative power that shapes your world. Every thought you hold as you drift into slumber is a seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious. If you surrender fear, worry, and limitation, if you consciously choose joy, faith, and gratitude, then these seeds grow into mighty trees of manifestation. The frequency of your mind, dear friends, is the frequency that speaks to all of life. When your thoughts align with health, vigor, and divine energy, sleep becomes a transformative current that carries these blessings into every cell of your being. It is not merely rest you receive, but a renewal of your entire spiritual, mental, and physical being. Consider the marvelous power of words, the gentle magic of affirmations whispered before you fall asleep. I am energized. I am renewed. I awaken each morning rich in vitality and creativity. Speak these words with faith, not doubt. For the universe responds to the vibration of certainty. Like an invisible symphony, life tunes itself to the music of your inner convictions. Each night, when you allow your thoughts to rise above limitation and fear, you awaken to find that your energy is abundant, your mind is clear, and your body is infused with vigor. This frequency, my friends, is no mere wishful thinking. It is a law. It is a law as steady and certain as the sun that rises. When you choose to embrace it, you invite the miraculous into your life. Sleep becomes a temple of renewal. It becomes a gateway through which the invisible currents of life pour their blessings upon you. You are not passive as you rest. You are an active participant in the creative process, calling forth the forces of energy, abundance, and inspiration. Each breath, each thought, each quiet moment in your pillow is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life, painting a picture of vitality and joyous fulfillment. Know this, the world of form answers to the invisible currents you allow within. Sleep in the consciousness of power, in the certainty of renewal, and in the affirmation of radiant energy, and life itself must conform to the pattern you have laid. There is a frequency, a divine vibration, that can change everything, and it is available to you tonight as you close your eyes, as you surrender to the peaceful creative flow that whispers through all things. Sleep, dear friend, is one of the most overlooked yet most powerful instruments of life's abundance and divine restoration. Often it is regarded merely as a pause, a retreat from the day's labors, a time when the body shuts down and the mind drifts into inactivity. But what if I were to tell you that sleep is a sacred portal, a golden opportunity to connect with the invisible forces of life, to draw down energy, vitality, and divine inspiration into every cell of your being? It is during these precious hours, when the conscious mind releases its grip on the world, that the spiritual mind takes charge, working silently, efficiently, and infinitely to restore what has been spent, to renew what has been exhausted, and to fill you with a creative energy that can transform every aspect of your life. Consider the body for a moment, the marvelous temple of your spirit. Every movement, every breath, every thought consumes energy, and yet energy is limitless when properly renewed through the sacred act of sleep. It is not only the muscles, the organs, and the cells that require replenishment, but also the mind and spirit. As the day passes, thoughts of worry, stress, and fear accumulate, like dust upon a treasured object. If left unaddressed, these thoughts linger, dragging down the vitality and joy that are your birthright. Sleep, however, is a divine cleanser, a gentle and magical process in which every cell is recharged, every tension released, and every worry dissolved in the quiet rhythm of rest. The mind, once freed from its daytime burdens, begins to attune to higher frequencies, those of peace, abundance, and rejuvenation. It is essential to understand that sleep is never passive, Though it may appear that you are merely lying still, unconscious to the world around you, the soul is wide awake, the spiritual currents are flowing, and the invisible energies of life are actively working on your behalf. When you lie down with a conscious thought of renewal, with faith in the restorative power of rest, you set in motion an invisible law of the universe. The body and mind, responding to this thought, absorb energy as naturally as the earth absorbs sunlight. Every inhalation draws in life force, every heartbeat circulates it, and every cell becomes a vessel of vitality. Even the very air around you, vibrating with life, responds to your readiness to receive and restores you more fully than any external remedy. The subconscious mind, that marvelous and obedient servant of thought, is especially active during sleep. It cannot distinguish between what is imagined, what is spoken, or what is believed with conviction. Therefore, if you drift into slumber with gratitude for your body, for your life, and for the inexhaustible energy that surrounds you, the subconscious mind immediately begins its sacred work of harmonizing your entire being with that energy. Tensions dissolve, mental fatigue evaporates, and physical exhaustion transforms into a radiant vitality that carries through into the waking hours. The simplest of affirmations, silently repeated before sleep, becomes a powerful instrument of renewal. Words such as, "I am refreshed," "I am renewed," "I am filled with energy," are not merely phrases. They are keys that unlock the doors of life's abundant vitality. Every night presents a miraculous opportunity, a spiritual laboratory in which you may experiment with thought and belief. As you close your eyes, imagine the energy of the universe flowing into you as a gentle stream of light, filling every chamber of your being with warmth, strength, and clarity. Picture it circulating through your limbs, your organs, and your mind, washing away the fatigue of the day and leaving only freshness and power. The body responds to imagination as faithfully as it does to food or exercise. If the imagination is guided by faith, by vision, by a conscious desire for restoration, the energy is absorbed and retained, preparing you to meet tomorrow with enthusiasm and vigor. Many are unaware that sleep can be not only restorative but transformative. It is a time when old patterns of limitation can be replaced by new patterns of strength. If you are conscious of your thoughts before sleep, you can deliberately release what is not needed and invite what is required. Anxiety, doubt, and worry are surrendered to the divine current, while courage, energy, and clarity are drawn toward you. The frequency of your thought, the level of your faith, and the purity of your intention determine the quality of the energy you receive. Sleep is then no longer a simple cessation of activity. It becomes a dynamic, life-giving process in which the universe actively participates, replenishing your body, mind, and spirit according to the law of your expectation. It is important to remember that the law of energy replenishment through sleep is impartial, unerring, and ever-present. The universe does not discriminate. It responds solely to the frequency you maintain, the thought you hold, and the faith you embody. If you regard sleep as sacred, if you approach it with consciousness, gratitude, and expectancy, then each night becomes a ritual of abundance. Energy is drawn to you not as a favor, but as a natural consequence of alignment with life's laws. It flows freely, effortlessly, and inexhaustibly, filling every corner of your being with vitality. The rhythm of life itself is orchestrated around this divine pattern. Just as the earth rests and renews in the quiet of night, so too must you surrender to this sacred current. Resistance, worry, or idle fear disrupts the natural replenishment, while conscious surrender allows the energy to flow unhindered. You may even notice, as you practice this awareness, that sleep begins to feel lighter, more refreshing, and more potent in its restorative powers. Dreams, often considered merely fanciful, can become instruments of guidance, inspiration, and further replenishment, carrying messages from the invisible world that awaken insight and vitality within you. Each night is a sacred ceremony, each slumber a divine offering in which you consciously participate in the restoration of your life force. By recognizing sleep as sacred, by welcoming it with intention, and by aligning your thoughts with the energy you wish to receive, you unlock a transformative power that elevates every moment of your waking life. The body, mind, and spirit are renewed as one, fully charged, fully empowered, and fully attuned to the abundant currents of life that are ever present and waiting to flow through you. As you prepare for rest each night, it is vital to understand that the thoughts and words you carry with you into the quiet sanctuary of sleep are not idle companions. They are powerful seeds that take root in the fertile soil of the subconscious mind. Every word you speak, every thought you harbor, every mental image you hold in your heart and mind before surrendering to slumber sets in motion a process far more influential than the eye can see. The subconscious does not judge or question. It does not differentiate between fantasy and reality, fear and faith, limitation and abundance. It receives and responds to whatever impression is most vivid, most repeated, and most imbued with feeling, cultivating it, nurturing it, and ultimately manifesting it in the patterns of your life. Imagine for a moment that your subconscious mind is a vast garden, fertile beyond measure, capable of producing every form of energy, every circumstance, and every opportunity you can imagine. The thoughts and words you entertain before sleep are like seeds planted in this garden. If they are seeds of fear, worry, doubt, or limitation, the garden responds by producing corresponding conditions, silently shaping your reality according to their vibration. On the other hand, when you consciously choose thoughts of courage, abundance, gratitude, and health, the garden flourishes with vitality, energy, and the unseen forces of success and creativity. The choice, therefore, rests entirely with you, for the law is impartial and unerring. It is the law of life that the mind creates patterns according to the frequency it sustains, and sleep is the most receptive, most fertile period in which this creative process unfolds. Words hold remarkable power. They are not mere expressions, they are energetic signatures that the subconscious mind receives as commands. To speak of limitation, scarcity, or fatigue before sleep is to instruct the inner world to create these conditions. Conversely, to speak of health, strength, vitality, prosperity, and peace is to plant seeds that will grow into abundant and beneficial realities. This is why it is so important to be aware of your final thoughts each day, for they are like prayers cast into the infinite sea of life. A single word, consciously chosen and filled with faith, can initiate a chain reaction within your subconscious, setting in motion currents that will guide your waking life with precision and purpose. Consider the mental pictures you hold before sleep. Visualization is a silent yet potent force, for the subconscious accepts these images as fact. When you imagine yourself renewed, radiant, and full of energy, the subconscious takes that image and orchestrates its manifestation in your body, your mind, and your environment. The very cells of your body respond to these mental pictures, aligning with the invisible patterns of health and vitality. Dreams are not mere fancies, they are often the subconscious mind acting upon the seeds you plant, nurturing and expanding them in ways that the conscious mind may not yet comprehend. The more vivid and emotionally charged your thoughts, the more potent the seed, and the more assured it's blossoming in the garden of your inner world. Fear and worry are perhaps the most insidious seeds we plant unknowingly. They appear harmless, like fleeting clouds, yet they carry within them a frequency that demands attention and manifestation. When you drift to sleep with anxiety in your mind, the subconscious immediately begins to organize circumstances, situations, and conditions that reflect that fear. In contrast, when you go to sleep with trust, faith, and gratitude, the subconscious organizes circumstances that reflect abundance, health, and opportunity. Sleep, therefore, is not merely a passive state. It is an active, creative laboratory where the unseen patterns of life are constructed according to the seeds you have planted. Affirmations, gentle declarations of truth, are among the most powerful seeds you can plant before sleep. A simple phrase, repeated with conviction, is absorbed by the subconscious as absolute reality. Words such as, "I am filled with energy and vitality. I awaken each day renewed and inspired. Abundance flows to me in perfect ways," are not just hopeful statements. They are commands to the universal mind, instructions that guide the formation of circumstances. and the distribution of life force in your favor. Repetition strengthens their effect, faith magnifies it, and gratitude seals the vibration, ensuring that the seeds flourish and bear fruit according to divine law. It is also vital to recognize the subtle yet profound impact of silence and inner mental attitude before sleep. The mind, free from distractions, is like an open field ready to receive the seeds you plant. Thoughts unguarded, idle, or negative, even if unspoken, are seeds nonetheless. They take root and grow according to the law, shaping moods, decisions, health, and life circumstances. Consciousness, therefore, must be vigilant. By deliberately selecting thoughts of courage, joy, creativity, and harmony, and by pairing them with words of faith and gratitude, you ensure that the seeds planted in the subconscious garden are not only beneficial but transformational, capable of bringing forth an abundant harvest that enhances every aspect of your life. Sleep, then, is a sacred act of co-creation with the infinite. It is the moment when the seeds of your thoughts and words take root in the unseen world and begin their growth into tangible reality. As you lie down, imagine your mind as a garden bathed in light, every seed a potential for beauty, energy, and abundance. Choose your seeds wisely, nurture them with faith and feeling, and trust that the unseen forces of life will cultivate them beyond your conscious understanding. Each night presents a new opportunity, a blank canvas, a fertile field in which you may plant the seeds of your highest desires, knowing that the law responds not to chance, but to the deliberate frequency of thought and word that you embody before surrendering to rest. Every moment of your life, your thoughts and words vibrate with a certain frequency, a subtle energy that radiates from your mind into the unseen currents of the universe. This frequency is neither accidental nor powerless. It is the direct result of your conscious alignment with the thoughts you choose, the words you speak, and the feelings you entertain. When you deliberately align your mind with positive affirmations, with gratitude, and with the consciousness of abundance, you enter into harmony with the infinite forces that govern life. This is not merely a philosophical notion, it is a divine law as exact and unwavering as the rising of the sun. To align the mind in this way is to attune yourself to a higher frequency, a vibration that resonates with health, wealth, creativity, joy, and spiritual clarity. The mind is like a tuning fork, sensitive to the thoughts it holds. When you choose thoughts of scarcity, limitation, or fear, the subconscious responds by creating conditions that mirror these limitat ions. Conversely, when you embrace affirmations of abundance, gratitude, and divine health, the subconscious mind organizes circumstances, events, and opportunities that correspond perfectly with that vibration. This is why affirmations are so potent, why they are not empty words but instruments of power. They act as beacons, sending forth a frequency that calls to the invisible forces of life and instructs them to arrange your experiences in harmony with your chosen thought. Each repetition, each heartfelt declaration, strengthens the signal, magnifying its effect, and creating a resonance that is impossible to ignore. Consider for a moment the simple act of affirming, "I am filled with vitality. I am prosperous. I am joyful. I am in perfect harmony with life." These words, spoken with conviction, imprint themselves upon the subconscious mind, which does not question, does not doubt, and does not resist. The subconscious receives these words as absolute truth and immediately begins the work of making them manifest. Health returns, energy increases, opportunities multiply, and a profound sense of well-being permeates every aspect of your being. The frequency you have created is like a magnet, drawing to you circumstances, people, and experiences that are in alignment with your declaration. Abundance is not merely financial or material. It is a state of being, a frequency that encompasses vitality, creativity, peace, joy, and spiritual fulfillment. By aligning your mind with affirmations of abundance, you invite all these aspects into your life simultaneously. The universe does not separate health from prosperity, joy from opportunity, or creativity from spiritual awareness. It responds to the totality of your vibration, the holistic frequency you emit through your thoughts, words, and feelings. Each affirmation, therefore, is not isolated, it is part of a complete orchestration, a divine melody that tunes every aspect of your life to the key of abundance. The feeling behind your affirmations is of utmost importance. The universe responds to the emotional charge, the intensity, and the faith behind your words, not merely to the words themselves. A thought of abundance spoken with doubt or hesitation has far less effect than a simple declaration spoken with unwavering faith and feeling. When you align mind, word, and emotion in perfect harmony, you create a frequency so potent that it penetrates the invisible world, activates the subconscious mind, and calls forth circumstances that reflect your inner reality. This alignment is the secret that allows ordinary people to perform extraordinary feats, to attract opportunities, and to awaken energy within themselves that had lain dormant for years. The process of tuning your mind to this higher frequency is both simple and profound. Begin by observing your thoughts, noticing the inner chatter that fills your mind during the day and the images that arise before sleep. Then, consciously choose thoughts that elevate, inspire, and affirm abundance. Speak these thoughts aloud, write them down, or meditate upon them. Feel their truth as if it were already realized. The more consistently you engage in this practice, the more your inner frequency harmonizes with the currents of divine abundance. Over time, this tuning becomes effortless. The mind naturally aligns with the higher vibration, and the energy you emit becomes a constant attractor of positivity, opportunity, and vitality. It is also essential to understand the interplay between faith and expectation in this alignment. Faith is the recognition that the universe is responsive and that the energy you emit returns to you multiplied. Expectation is the confident anticipation that your affirmations will bear fruit. Together they form a powerful frequency that the universe cannot ignore. Sleep, in particular, magnifies this effect. When you enter the night with affirmations of abundance and gratitude, the subconscious mind works while you rest, harmonizing your inner world and arranging the outer world to reflect your vibration. Each night becomes a laboratory of creation, each morning a confirmation of the invisible forces working on your behalf. Alignment with positive affirmations also clears the mind of resistance. Negative thoughts, fears, and doubts act as interference, disrupting the purity of the frequency you wish to emit. By consciously replacing these thoughts with affirmations of abundance, you remove obstacles to the flow of energy and allow the universe to deliver its blessings unhindered. This is why repetition, consistency, and emotional engagement are critical. The frequency of your mind must be unwavering, steady, and clear, like a finely tuned instrument, in order to produce the harmony that attracts abundance in every form. Energy, health, creativity, relationships, financial prosperity, and spiritual growth all respond to this alignment. When the mind is tuned to a higher frequency, it acts as a magnet, drawing circumstances and opportunities into your life that are perfectly suited to your vibration. Challenges are transformed into opportunities, obstacles dissolve, and life itself becomes a reflection of the frequency you maintain. The law of attraction is not a mere theory. It is an immutable truth of life, responding with absolute precision to the frequency you emit through your aligned thoughts, words, and emotions. The higher frequency created through alignment with positive affirmations also permeates every action, decision, and encounter. It strengthens resilience, enhances intuition, and opens channels of inspiration that may have seemed closed. As the mind becomes attuned to abundance, the heart follows, and the body responds with increased energy, vitality, and strength. You awaken to the realization that abundance is not something to be sought outside yourself, but a natural consequence of aligning with the law within. Your frequency becomes the invisible force that shapes your reality, directing the currents of life to serve you in perfect harmony with your affirmations. Energy, vitality, and creativity are not random occurrences or mere matters of chance. They are the natural expression of a universal law that responds precisely to the beliefs, thoughts, and vibrations you maintain within your mind and heart. Just as the sun rises each day without fail, so too does the law of energy respond without partiality to the inner state you cultivate. These forces are not external commodities to be sought or earned. They are inherent within you, waiting to be activated by your consciousness, your faith, and the deliberate direction of your thought. The mind, in harmony with the law, governs the flow of energy and determines the degree of vitality and creativity that manifests in your daily life. Consider the mind as a tuning instrument, exquisitely sensitive to the vibrations it maintains. Every thought you hold, every emotion you entertain, every word you speak sets a particular tone, a frequency that the universe registers and responds to. If your inner belief is one of limitation, fatigue, or fear, the law responds in kind, producing circumstances, bodily sensations, and mental states that mirror these inner vibrations. Conversely, if your inner conviction is one of strength, confidence, and creativity, the law arranges the currents of life to deliver experiences and energy that reflect these elevated frequencies. Energy, vitality, and creative inspiration are, therefore, not outside gifts but responses to the invisible architect. You are of your mind, built and sustained by your habitual patterns of thought. It is crucial to understand that your inner beliefs are the source of either restriction or liberation. Many people struggle with low energy, mental fatigue, or lack of creativity because they unconsciously affirm limitations through repeated negative thinking. Thoughts such as, "I am too tired, I cannot do this," or "I lack inspiration" become self-fulfilling patterns, setting into motion a cascade of energy depletion. The subconscious, obedient to these beliefs, begins to organize circumstances, sensations, and perceptions that confirm them, thus reinforcing a cycle of stagnation. In contrast, when you consciously affirm vitality, strength, and creative power, the subconscious responds instantly, activating pathways of energy that invigorate the body, sharpen the mind, and open channels of inspiration. The role of faith in this process cannot be overstated. Faith is the acknowledgement that the law is impartial, that energy, vitality, and creativity will respond faithfully to the inner frequency you maintain. It is the certainty that your inner state of mind is the most potent determinant of outer circumstances. With faith, you do not merely hope for vitality, you expect it, claim it, and embrace it as an already realized condition. This expectation, reinforced through deliberate thought and emotional engagement, amplifies the flow of energy, strengthens the channels of vitality, and ignites the creative faculties that lie dormant within you. Each cell of your body, each thought in your mind, and each subtle vibration of your being participates in this law, responding with exactitude to the frequency you cultivate. Creativity, often regarded as a talent or a gift, is likewise governed by this inner law. It is not bestowed at random, nor is it dependent upon external conditions. Creativity. Why is the natural expression of a mind in alignment with the law, free from fear, doubt, and inner resistance? When you maintain beliefs that support energy, possibility, and divine inspiration, creative ideas flow effortlessly. Solutions appear with clarity, and innovations arise naturally. The law responds to your inner state, producing a flow of insights, solutions, and imaginative energy that seem almost miraculous, yet are merely the faithful reflection of the vibrations you sustain within. Energy and vitality are also deeply connected to your emotional state. Emotions are powerful indicators of your inner frequency and act as amplifiers of the energy you project. Joy, gratitude, and enthusiasm elevate the vibration, increasing the flow of life force and infusing both mind and body with renewed strength. Conversely, fear, worry, and resentment deplete energy, cloud the mind, and obstruct the natural flow of creative inspiration. It is therefore imperative to monitor your emotional landscape, consciously cultivating feelings that reinforce strength, vitality, and creative power. Every act of gratitude, every moment of positive expectation, and every thought of confidence strengthens the inner vibration, ensuring that the law operates in your favor. The body itself responds obediently to these inner currents. Energy is not merely a matter of physical endurance, It is a reflection of the mind's alignment with universal law. A vibrant mind produces a vibrant body. Each cell becomes a conductor of vitality. Each system functions in harmonious rhythm, and the nervous system carries the currents of life with clarity and precision. When your beliefs and vibrations are aligned with energy, the body regenerates with remarkable efficiency. Fatigue is replaced with vigor, lethargy with dynamism, and the spark of creativity ignites every action. The subconscious, ever obed, orchestrates bodily processes in harmony with the inner signals it receives, demonstrating that vitality is not a gift from outside, but a natural consequence of inner alignment. Energy, vitality, and creativity also influence circumstances and opportunities. Life responds to your inner vibration. People, situations, and experiences are drawn to you in accordance with the frequency you maintain. When your inner state is rich in energy, optimistic expectation, and creative vision, doors open, ideas flow, and opportunities manifest with ease. Obstacles, rather than appearing as limitations, are transformed into stepping stones, challenges into inspiration, and every interaction becomes a channel for the expression of your vitality. The law of life is impartial. It simply mirrors the energy you project, returning to you in perfect harmony with your inner beliefs. It is also essential to recognize the cumulative effect of habitual thought patterns. Energy, vitality, and creativity grow stronger and more resilient when nurtured consistently. Daily affirmations, conscious thought management, and the cultivation of positive beliefs act as an investment in your inner energy reserves. Each deliberate thought of strength, each affirmation of health, and each visualization of creative accomplishment deposits power into the subconscious, building a reservoir that can be drawn upon at any time. Over time, this inner reservoir becomes so potent that it sustains vitality even under conditions that might otherwise deplete it, and it produces a continuous stream of creative insight that flows naturally and abundantly. The creative mind is a faithful mirror of your inner state. Ideas, inspiration, and solutions arise not by chance, but as reflections of the frequency you maintain. The law does not fail, it responds with precision to the vibrations you emit. By aligning your inner beliefs with energy, vitality, and creativity, you ensure that every action, decision, and thought is empowered, that every challenge becomes an opportunity, and that life itself becomes a reflection of the harmonious, abundant, and creative law you uphold within. Sleep is not merely a cessation of activity, a pause between days, or a simple resting of the body. It is a sacred interval in which conscious surrender becomes the key to the orchestration of life. To surrender consciously is not to abandon thought, to yield to randomness, or to resign oneself to circumstance. It is rather to recognize the infinite intelligence and perfect order of the universe, and to place oneself in harmony with the divine flow, trusting that life itself will arrange the unseen forces to fulfill the pattern you have chosen. In the quiet moments before sleep, when the conscious mind releases its grip on external distractions, you have the extraordinary opportunity to direct the currents of life by yielding to the law with faith, clarity, and deliberate expectation. The very act of surrender is a creative decision, a deliberate alignment with the universal forces that govern existence. When you consciously release worry, fear, and resistance, you remove the obstacles that obstruct the natural flow of abundance, energy, and inspiration. Sleep, therefore, becomes a laboratory of divine orchestration, a period in which the law of life actively rearranges circumstances to reflect the inner reality you have embraced. Just as a river flows naturally when unimpeded by debris, so too does life flow unhindered when the mind and spirit surrender to the perfect order of the divine current. Each thought released, each expectation embraced, each declaration of trust amplifies the invisible forces working on your behalf, ensuring that energy, opportunity, and insight are delivered in exact harmony with the pattern you have chosen. The subconscious mind, ever faithful, is particularly responsive to the state of conscious surrender maintained before sleep. It does not judge or resist, it receives and acts according to the inner instructions it perceives as dominant. When you release control, worry, and doubt, and instead cultivate feelings of trust, expectation, and clarity, the subconscious organizes all inner and outer conditions in precise accordance with that vibration. Sleep then becomes a sacred rehearsal, a period of invisible activity in which the life you desire is nurtured, strengthened, and allowed to take form. The choices you make in consciousness, even in stillness, set the stage for the unfolding of circumstances, opportunities, and experiences that will manifest in perfect alignment with your expectations. Faith is the essential companion to conscious surrender. Without faith, surrender is tentative and incomplete. Faith is the assurance that life itself is intelligent, that the currents of the universe are responsive to thought, and that your inner pattern is the blueprint for manifestation. With faith, you do not struggle to manipulate outcomes, nor do you attempt to coerce results through effort alone. Instead, you recognize the law's perfect efficiency, and you place your energy in harmony with its flow. This recognition is a form of mastery, for it allows you to direct the course of life not through resistance or force, but through alignment, expectation, and the unwavering trust that the divine current will carry your desires into visible expression. Before sleep, the thoughts you entertain, the words you whisper, and the emotions you nurture are seeds that determine the shape of your inner and outer world. Conscious surrender requires vigilance in these moments. Every thought of fear, resistance, or limitation must be replaced with trust, expectation, and affirmation of the life you desire. Words such as, "I am aligned with the perfect flow of life. Divine energy restores and guides me. My life unfolds in harmony with my highest good," are not merely phrases. They are instruments that direct the currents of the unseen world to conform to your chosen pattern. The more consistent, deliberate, and emotionally charged these affirmations are, the more efficiently the law responds, producing conditions, insights, and circumstances that reflect the clarity and harmony of your inner surrender. Sleep is also a time in which energy is renewed in precise accordance with your inner vibration. When you surrender consciously, the body, mind, and spirit are restored, replenished, and aligned with the currents of vitality and creativity. Fatigue is dissolved, mental clarity is enhanced, and the intuitive faculties are awakened. Dreams often carry the reflections of this alignment, offering guidance, solutions, and inspiration that may have been obscured during the conscious hours of activity. By cultivating conscious surrender, you allow the subconscious mind to harmonize these energies and deliver insights that propel your waking life into perfect order, ensuring that your actions, decisions, and interactions are informed by the highest intelligence available. Conscious surrender also eliminates inner conflict, which is one of the greatest barriers to the manifestation of desired outcomes. When the mind resists, doubts, or struggles against the current of life, energy is fragmented, and the natural flow is obstructed. By surrendering, you unify thought, feeling, and expectation, producing a coherent vibration that the universe can respond to without delay or distortion. Life then moves with effortless precision, delivering circumstances that reflect the purity of your inner alignment. Each night, as you enter the sanctuary of sleep, you have the power to release all resistance, to cultivate faith, and to allow the law to orchestrate the unseen currents in harmony with your chosen pattern, the act of conscious surrender is also a daily training in trust and spiritual mastery. Each evening offers a fresh opportunity to practice releasing control, to reaffirm your faith, and to focus your mind on the pattern of life you desire. Over time, this practice strengthens your inner authority, your capacity for clarity, and your ability to maintain a high vibration in waking hours. The law responds not to impatience, but to steady expectation, unwavering faith, and the consistency of conscious surrender. As this practice deepens, sleep itself becomes increasingly restorative, intuitive, and creative, producing results in the waking world that are both abundant and harmonious. Furthermore, conscious surrender amplifies the power of intention. The mind, when aligned with the law through trust and expectation, projects an invisible signal that the universe cannot ignore. This signal organizes all invisible forces, arranges circumstances, and synchronizes events to conform to the life pattern you have consciously chosen. Energy flows where it is needed, creativity is ignited, and opportunity manifests in accordance with the precise design of your inner thought. Each night becomes a laboratory of manifestation, each period of rest a demonstration of the law's perfect efficiency in translating your inner surrender into tangible results. To fully embrace conscious surrender, one must also cultivate gratitude and appreciation. By recognizing the perfection of the law, the intelligence of life, and the abundance that surrounds, even in subtle forms, you reinforce the inner vibration of trust and expectation. Gratitude magnifies the frequency of your alignment, drawing into your experience not only what is desired, but also the insights, guidance, and opportunities that make its manifestation effortless. The combination of conscious surrender, faith, expectation, and gratitude creates a freak. NCY so potent that it harmonizes every aspect of your being with the infinite flow, ensuring that life conforms seamlessly to the pattern you have chosen.